Hey everyone, this is Corey with Casual EDC, and I'm finally bringing you my full review of the TRM Neutron 2. So this is the revised version of the TRM Neutron, which was the predecessor to the TRM Atom, and has now been improved in a few different ways here. We now have deep carry clip that comes with the knife. You can see it's not fully deep carry, but it is certainly much deeper than the previous clip, which the screws started a little bit further back on the knife, but it was more of the style of like a Benchmade clip. So it was a shallower carry. What you can also see looking at the back here is we have pocketed liners and pocketed scales for the liners. So what I'll do is I'll bring in my Atom here. So you can see, I'll put these down for you here. The Atom is the larger of the two, sporting a 3.5 inch blade, whereas the Neutron has a 3-inch blade. Excuse me. You can see it's essentially the same knife, just the scaled down version of it. Put the Atom away for a second. But you can see how you don't see the liners, you just see the scales. You can see the liner lock, obviously. And then they have this area near the top where you can see the liners. So that's the changes they made, because previously the scales on the Neutrons were just a thin layer of G10 micarta carbon fiber on top of a titanium liner. I do have a video of my TRM Neutron 1, the original Neutron, on the channel. If you go back a long ways, probably over a year ago at this point, that video was posted. But you can see the Atom has the same setup in terms of the pocketed liners. So that was a nice change to see being made, because it allowed for some really nice scales to be made, which we're going to get into in a moment here. I'm going to give you guys some specs before I forget to do it. You are looking at a 3-inch blade, as I said, with a closed length of 4 inches. So a 4-inch handle, 3-inch blade. Slightly longer, actually being a 7 1/16 overall inch. You're not going to notice that 1/16, I'll tell you that much right now. Coming in at only 2.5 ounces, really nice and lightweight. What TRM's really known for is thin blades with thin grinds. So you have 0.09 inch blade stock with an extremely thin grind on it. Hopefully get this to focus. Get in on the heel here. You can see how fine that grind is and how that comes in. It makes for an extremely utilitarian, slicey, everyday carry blade. And as I said, 20 CV, so really good steel. This one here I have customized a bit. The scales are stock from TRM. The hardware is not. Hardware is just sold by somebody in their Facebook group. Thumb studs, dual thumb studs to open. You can Spidey flick, which I just missed. Sorry about that. My mom walked in with our puppy. I may stick a picture of the puppy in there, maybe not. If I didn't, yell at me in the comments, and you can always look at my Instagram for that. But what I was saying was hardware was sold by a member of their Facebook group, which is Tycoons Really Matter, TRM on Facebook. That is not what TRM stands for. TRM stands for Three Rivers Manufacturing. See their logo there, based out of Three Rivers, Massachusetts. So don't get the two of those mixed up. But they do have a really awesome Facebook group where people notify you about drops and best ways to get knives. They resell them a lot at very, very reasonable prices. So that is the place to go if you're really looking to get a TRM knife. Now I have some contoured micarta scales on this knife, and I'm going to close it up so you can see this. I don't know if you can tell, but we're much thicker at this point here, and it's radiused down to the edges. And I'll show you on the Atom as well, because the Atom also has these scales. Hello, what's wrong, puppy? What's wrong? Come here. Sorry about that. You may hear the dog crying a little bit. She's not ready for bed, but she's in the bedroom, so you're just gonna have to excuse that. She's just a little restless at the moment. But what I was talking about was our contoured scales here. They make for an extremely comfortable knife in hand. Now, TRM sells flat scales as well, but I have personally never been a fan of the flat scales. Anything that they have had contoured in any kind of way has been what I've gone with, and I don't regret that decision at all. The contoured scales really are a game changer. The reason why I kept the second Atom I bought, which is the one that I have now, I actually sold my first one because I hated the scales so much, and I didn't realize at the time you could buy replacement scales. And we're talking about 2019, so kind of before they got really crazy popular, was the time I got that first TRM. So long time ago. Wish I would have known. I would have just kept the one I had, but I love that knife, so there's no worries there. And I keep diverging away from the Neutron here, so before I keep going on a rant about the Atom, I have a full video on that on the channel already. I think I might prefer the Neutron over the Atom, and that sounds crazy to some people because it's almost the same knife. You get more blade with the Atom. The action's a little different. The thumb studs are a little bigger. Quality of life things, deeper carry clip, but something about this knife and the way it fits my hand, and with how thin and slicey the blade is, and just how compact it is, looking at the two of them side by side here, even overlaying the Neutron on the Atom, you can see the overall size difference here. And having that extra room in the pocket for just as capable of a knife that's even comfier in hand than the Atom is absolutely fantastic. This is really snappy action. It pretty much drops shut now. These are on washers. You can see it falls right onto my thumb, and just a little bit of effort to flick it, and it is shut, no problem. Carries beautifully, cuts extremely well. I've cut so many things with this. During the first week I got it, you see that big scratch across the blade. I was breaking down a box that happened to have staples. My apologies once again for another interruption. We're probably gonna have one more at least. But I was talking about the scratch on the blade. Come on, there it is. And that I put a nick in the blade in the first week I got it, so it's had my edge on it for a while, and it's not needed to be resharpened. I guess almost a year ago, I got this. The first ever drop they did of Neutron 2s. I was able to get one, so I could always confirm. Let me look real quick. I have the site up here. Let me see if I can find the order. Alright, here we go. Neutron 2, October of 2020, so almost a full year. October 20th to be exact was when I placed the order. So, almost a year ago, and their 20CV is 20CV is heat treated beautifully. It has only needed some stropping in between. I did put a really fine 0.1 micron mirror edge on it, so it was extremely sharp, but the stropping has been able to maintain an extremely sharp edge since, November or so. So it's almost been a year, and their steel is fantastic. So if you're hesitant about 20CV, M390, equivalent steels because of heat treat issues from certain companies in the past, don't worry about TRM. They have fantastic heat treat, and their factory sharpness is some of the sharpest you'll be able to find in the industry. So keep that in mind. A lot of people don't even put their own edge on a TRM until it's really necessary, which will be about a year of carry. I told you there'd be another interruption. But with that, I'm going to try and wrap this up here. Needless to say, this is one of my favorite knives of all time, and is still pretty much top in my collection alongside the Atom. People give TRM a lot of praise, and I really do believe it's well deserved. They're trying their best to get a ton of knives out there in the wild, and there's a reason why people are getting them and they're dropping and selling out so quickly. And it is because they are fantastic. The owners of the company, Marianne and Les Halpern, as well as all the employees there, are always super generous and go above and beyond to help out their customers if there's ever any issues, which tend to be very small and very infrequent. So if you are looking to get a TRM or the design interests you, go to their website, look under their FAQs. Question 1 and 2 will have their drop times, well, drop estimations is, I guess, a good way to put it, and the next date they're looking at, or at least general time frame for both Neutrons and Atoms. I know Atoms we're looking at September release for DLC, and Neutrons will be available in about a week, I believe. I think August 23rd was the date, definitely near the end of August. Please correct me if I'm wrong, and if you do have TRM questions, please leave them down below. Myself, as well as a few others, are in the TRM group on Facebook, and actually were given group expert tags by Marianne, the owner, for knowledge and whatnot, just because I've been around in that group for 2 years now, just about. So if you have questions, drop them below and I'll be happy to answer. But if I can't get to you, or if I take some time, please join their Facebook group. I'm more active on there than I am here on YouTube, and there are more experts and a lot of knowledgeable people there on their group as well. So yeah, that's gonna be it. If I had to keep one knife out of the whole collection, this really might be the one. That 3-inch blade, super slicey, beautiful action. I love everything about this. I don't have any complaints. I have one little gripe, but it's such an easy fix that I've done it to all my knives, and it doesn't bother 99.9% of people. I will mention it really quick. This area up here, you can see a little bump right in front of my finger. That's normally a bit sharper. It's not uncomfortable. I just prefer it flattened down, so I just sand it on every set of scales that I get. That's it. It's not an uncomfortable thing for almost anybody, just a little bit for myself, and I prefer the grip that way, so just a little modification I do. Alright, I'll actually wrap it up this time. Like I said, questions, comments, leave them down below, and yeah, this is basically my favorite knife of all time. Definitely top 3. And I've handled quite a few knives, so take that as you will. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please do look at the differences between this and the original Neutron in my previous video. And with that, have a great rest of your day. Take care.